classmates. But despite this, the school encouraged her to use the boys' bathroom.
Blair's daughter Sage had a history of mental health issues, including depression, eating disorders, self-harm, and hallucinations, and Blair informed the school of it prior to any of the incidents. However, the school pursued a social transition for Sage, behind the back of her parents, according to the lawsuit filed by the Child and Parent Rights Campaign. Bernadette Broyles, Blair's attorney, told Washington Examiner, Sage ran away from home due to severe bullying and harassment at school.
The school officials were encouraging to use the boys' bathroom, even though they knew she was being threatened with sexual assault.
We have to talk about this story of how a local high school in Virginia tried to transition someone's child behind their back. This story is insane. Okay, people, when we talk about transitioning from one sex to the other, I just want to be clear. If you're an adult, I don't care what you do, right? If you want to transition, if you want go live your life, more power to you. But if you're a child, then your parents who take care of you have the right to inquire it and decide what you're going to do until you become an adult. So that just makes sense. And the school should honor the parents' request. So if the parent says, hey, I'm not really into my daughter transitioning to a male or my child transitioning to a female, that request should be granted. It's not up to the school to transition. But it seems like the good people in Virginia thought differently and began transitioning this young lady when to a boy, even behind the parents' back. So essentially, let me give you the nitty-gritty of what's going on. See, a Virginia mother is suing her local high school district for not notifying her that her daughter was identifying as a male at school, which resulted in her daughter being harassed, assaulted, and abused. The school also encouraged her to use the boys' bathroom and use male pronouns. Now, this was despite the boys in the school threatening her and her facing harassment within the school. Now, her mother alleged in a lawsuit that the daughter ran away from home due to the bullying and harassment at school and was subsequently kidnapped and drugged. She was then taken into custody in the juvenile court systems in Maryland. So she went from Virginia to Maryland, where she had experienced even more abuse and denied medical and mental health care. The lawsuit claims that the school district violated the mother's parental rights and failed to provide a safe and adequate environment for her daughter. And other similar cases of parents suing school districts for not disclosing the gender identity issues happening with their children have also been reported. So this is insane. I'm just going to say it. This is totally insane. What gave those administrators at the school to make them feel that they had the right to secretly transition this young woman to a boy, even though the parents seemingly told them that their daughter had mental health issues? To be fair, it's baffling. So this has not been covered by any of the mainstream media except for the right-leaning media. The left-leaning media and even center media are not covering this story, which I think is a horror show because obviously they want to push an agenda. But I'm covering it. I don't care how many of you watch it. I'm covering it because I think this story is insane. So here's local news covering these events and this lawsuit. Let's see what they have to say.
I'm the parent. I am an expert on my child. There is nobody in the school or court system that knows my daughter better than me.
Michelle Blair is suing her local school district, saying staff there secretly transitioned her daughter. Blair said her daughter was severely bullied in her Appomattox County school, leading her daughter to run away only to be kidnapped and sex trafficked.
So just so we're clear about what's going on, the daughter goes to the school secretly starts transitioning her, and the other kids start bullying her based on that transitioning. And they didn't tell the parent anything. So she didn't know anything about this.
And it was verbal, physical, sexually harassed with constant threats of by the male classmates. But despite this, the school encouraged her to use the boys' bathroom.
Think about that. Not only did they know this was going on, the boys were saying these things to her. They didn't say, well, use the boys' bathroom. What gives them the right to do this? Like, hopefully this mother gets millions and millions of dollars. But the only people who are going to be suffering are the taxpayers in that particular area. But maybe that'll wake them up to vote these people out, because this is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous.
Blair's daughter Sage had a history of mental health issues, including depression, eating disorders, self-harm, and hallucinations, and Blair informed the school of it prior to any of the incidents. However, the school pursued a social transition for Sage.
So just so we know what we just heard, they notified the school that she has some mental issues and she's struggling with that, and the school kind of just ignored that and said, we're going to know what's best for her and indulge in her mental issues. Unfortunately, the person's mental ill. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to make it seem like because people want to transition, they automatically have a mental illness. That's just not the case. But in some instances, that is the case. And that seems to be the case here. This young girl was suffering from some mental break, and the school, instead of notifying the parent, like, hey, your daughter's going through this, after being told by the parent, she's got mental issues, be careful, they indulged those mental issues that she's had and then try to help her transition secretly. Hopefully, I'm hoping this mother and this daughter get millions of dollars from the school. And I hope these people are fired, because this is ridiculous.
Sage, behind the back of her parents, according to the lawsuit filed by the Child and Parent Rights Campaign. Bernadette Broyles, Blair's attorney, told Washington Examiner Sage ran away from home due to severe bullying and harassment at school.
The school officials were encouraging to use the boys' bathroom, even though they knew she was being threatened with sexual assault. She perceived herself that she wasn't safe, and she runs away from home.
So the worst part about this is because of what the school was doing and not telling the parent, the daughter felt she had no choice but to run away from home because of these issues. How insane is this?
And she runs into the arms of a waiting who encounters her, traffics her to other men, and takes her across state lines into Washington, D.C., and then ultimately into Maryland.
The nightmare should have ended there, but the Baltimore juvenile court system took custody of the young girl. Area public defender Anissa Khan concluded the Blairs were not, quote, sufficiently affirming of her new identity.
Oh my goodness. So she gets taken to another state, right, being trafficked. She gets there, they finally get her. They get her to the system, and the public defender says her parents aren't sufficiently helping her transition. What? This is insane. Obviously, this young woman has a mental health issue, but everyone wants to be so woke that it's like, okay, we're going to help her transition and not stand and identify that this is not someone who's trying to transition, but this is someone who may be mentally ill. Wow.
While in custody, Sage was put into a boys' juvenile facility where she was again sexually assaulted, exposed to drugs, and denied medical and mental health care.
It was a 100-pound girl. What do you think happens in this facility?
This is woke going horribly bad. They put her in a male facility. This 100-pound girl who's going through these mental crisis and these mental issues, who've just been trafficked. They said, okay, we're going to transition you. And then she gets put into the system, right? They finally catch her. They put her into the system. And then they say, we're going to force transition you. This is insane. This is how dangerous this stuff can start getting. This is dangerous.
She's again sexually assaulted. She runs away. And then again is found by yet another who traffics her more and takes her into Texas. Texas finally has the wisdom to return her to her parents.
So think about this, people. She's in Democratic-run Virginia. They try to transition her. She gets to Maryland. They try to force transition her. She comes to Texas. And they said, what the hell are you guys doing? Send her back to her parents. What are you guys trying to force transition her for? And sends her back to her parents. And the only people who got... Thank God she went to Texas. Because think about it, if she went to let's say she goes to New York, they probably would have been doing the same craziness too. All these people should lose their jobs.
Horror, the horror that this child went through.
Because of her experiences, Sage has undergone intensive inpatient and outpatient therapy to address the multiple incidents of extreme trauma. She has also been diagnosed with complex PTSD.
Frankly, it is cruel and irresponsible for school officials to be encouraging confusion, gender confusion in particularly traumatized, young girls with histories of mental health.
Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin has been vocal about Sage's case and recently implemented new guidance in Virginia mitigating some of the policies that led to Sage's experience.
No, what you need to do is say, The schools are there to teach students, not transition them, right? That needs to be the law, Pat. So if you want this student transition, you got to talk to their parents first. This is no policy issue. This is a legal issue now because people are getting hurt by these policies. This young woman, life is going to be altered dramatically for the rest of her life. She had to go through all this when it could have been a simple phone call to her parents. Hey, listen, this is what's going on. Oh, you forgot she has mental issues and we're going to work through it. But she's got to go to Texas before somebody wakes up and says, why don't we tell her parents what's going on? Insane.
And she says, I don't remember who I was, Nana. I just wanted to have friends. She will need trauma therapy because it is complex PTSD for the rest of her life. But I mean, that doesn't mean she's not and won't have, a happy life, but she will always struggle with flashbacks of horrible, horrible memories.
Yeah.
But I will just love her through them all.
I don't know what to say about stories like this because I understand. No, you know what? Let me not even say, I don't understand. I don't understand any of those school officials should be arrested. I'm just going to say it. They should be arrested and jailed for endangering the welfare of the child. That lawyer from Maryland, she should be arrested and jailed for endangering the welfare of a child. They should all be locked up. And the people in Texas should be given medals for doing the right thing, waking up and saying, this woke trash needs to stop. Sending this young girl to her parents, and now she's at home getting the treatment that she deserves. And it's all started because some woke people in a Virginia high school said, you know what? You really want to be a boy? We're going to make that happen. Instead of realizing that this young girl was suffering with a mental illness. You know what? Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section. And tell me the reason why you don't think the news media is covering this case. The news media is not covering this case. Why? Why is it only right-wing media? Why? Right? You don't see this on NBC, ABC. This should be a national story. But you know why you're not hearing about it? You know why. I ain't gonna tell you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you next time. Peace.